Hello everyone, my name is Amal. So today I will be walking through how to configure two critical services in our lab environment. The IMAPS using code on Linux and also DNS using both bind on Linux and also DNS server role on Windows. We will also cover at least three hardening recommendations for each and also finish with a quick checklist to verify the services are running properly with the Nmap. All right, so today's agenda is going to be first we will cover the IMAPs. I'm pretty much going to explain like what it is, how to configure it with code, and also how to harden it. I'm actually including like three hardening recommendations for each of those. Then we will move to DNS, what it is or what it does, how to configure it with bind on Linux, and also the DNS role on Windows, and also how to harden both. Finally, I will share a lab checklist on demo notes so you exactly know what to test with a Nmap for your server check assignment. All right, so what is IMAPS? So IMAPS actually stands for Internet Message Access Protocol Secure. So it is a simply IMAP wrapped in TLS and which runs on port 993. Unlike with the IMAP, the style is on port 143. IMAPS enforces encryptions by default. We will use this protocol in the lab not to send or receive email, but just to ensure the port is listening securely on Nmap. All right, so code overview. So code is one of the most widely used IMAP and also the POP3 servers on Linux. It is designed with performance and also security in mind. The configuration lives in slash etc slash dovecode with the main file being dovecode.conf and also modular configs under the conf.d slash. It is easy to install and configure with your package manager, and it is what we will use to expose the port 993. All right, so next the dovecode configuration steps. So here is the like a quick setup on like how to install and configure the dovecode. So install the dovecode. So on Ubuntu, that is like sudo apt install dovecode slash imapd enable SSL in slash etc slash dovecode slash conf.d slash 10 ssl.conf by setting SSL is equal to S and pointing to your certificate and key. Make sure the IMAP and IMAPs are enabled as protocols and also confirm the IMAP login services is bound to the port 993. Finally, restart and enable the Dove code with system control. So once running, the Nmap should show the port 993 as open. That's exactly what we are looking for. All right. So Dove code hardening. So when it comes to security, we will apply this recommendation. Enforcing the strong TLS versions and ciphers disable the TLS 1.0 and also the 1.1. Use least privilege. Dovecore should run on sandboxed or with systems protections like Up Armor. Protect your private keys with strict file permissions. And also for bonus security, disable unused plugins and use fail to bin to block repeated failed logins. This ensures our lab services is secure even if it is were production facing. But we are just gonna look at it anyway. So these are the hardened recommendations, mainly for security. Then what is DNS? So the DNS stands for the domain name system. So the DNS is what translates the human readable names like example.com into the IP addresses. So it uses both TCP and also the UDP port 53. In our lab, we will configure the DNS servers on both Linux, Bitbind, and also on Windows with the DNS server role just to make sure the port 53 is listening for Nmap. Then the bind overview. So bind is or bind 9 is the most widely used DNS server on Linux and also the Unix systems. Its configures like lives in slash etc slash bind with named config as the entry point. We will configure a simple forward zone to make sure the service is working. Even though it's a lab only, we also review the hardening steps for the productions. And here is the steps to how to configure the bind. Install the path for the Ubuntu sudo apt install bind9 utils. Next, define a new zone in named.conf.local. Then create the corresponding zones file has the slash etc slash bind slash zones. Add basic records like SOA, NS, and also A records. Run name checkphone as the restart the services. Finally, allow the port 53 in the firewall so that the Nmaps can succeed. Then hardening. So three hardening steps for the bind. Disable the recursion if your server authoritative only. This prevents the abuse. Restrict the zone transfers using allowed transfers so only trusted servers can replicate the data. Enable DNSSEZ to prevent the spoofing and also ensure record integrity. Even for more protection, apply rate limiting and the run daemon with the minimal privileges. Next, the Windows DNS Server overview. So on Windows Server, DNS is installed as a role by Server Manager, not through the IAS. After installation, create a new forward lookup zone and also add records and verify the services is listening on port 53. Important for our lab, we do not make this as a domain controller, just as a standalone DNS server, just to keep in mind. Then the DNS hardening recommendations. So disable recursions if the server is authoritative only, same as the other one. Then restrict the zone transfers and enable the secure dynamic updates only where needed. Also, same as the other one, enable the DNSSCC on zones for data integrity. Additionally, audit the logs and keep the server patched. Very important. Then when it comes to the lab checklist for our lab verification, we have to run nmap slash st slash p993 to confirm the dove code. IMAPS is open. Run the nmap slash su slash p53 and also the nmap slash st slash p53 to confirm the DNS is open. Make sure the firewall's rules allow the testing traffic and also remember document you configs that part of the grading. Then troubleshooting nodes. So if your scan doesn't show on the expected ports, check if the service is running. Check also make sure you installed everything properly. Check the firewall rules. For Dovecode, check the certificate file permissions. And for the bind, run named check config or named checkzone. On the Windows, check event viewer or use just PowerShell to get DNS server zone. All right, so references. So you can look it up here. So these are the references I actually used um, to for this configuration. Dovecode's documentations, the bind manuals, and the Microsoft guides for the Windows DNS. With this setup, we are now both have the IMAPs and also the DNS listening securely on these default ports and also strong baseline of hardening the production zone use. So that's pretty much which I have to cover on this presentation. So I hope you guys have um, enjoyed or learned what I've actually gone through. So thank you, and now we can actually move on to the Q&A, or if you guys have any questions or anything. Otherwise, everyone has a good day. Thank you.